So I'm here with former singer of the Disturbed, coming out here for Device.
Still current, not former. I haven't quit. Disturbed isn't done. Disturbed is just sleeping. There is no former.
So no former, but definitely checked out the album. I know a lot of people are drawing similarities to Disturbed. I mean, that's kind of the way
kind
it
of
goes.
inevitable.
When you got that distinctive voice,
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of gives way. What really made you try out this side project? I mean, you got a lot of guests on this album.
It was a fortunate accident, shall we say. My friend Gino Leonardo reached out to me, formerly of Filter, at the tail end of the last Disturbed touring cycle to do a track for the Underworld soundtrack. And he had done a track with Lacey from Flyleaf and one with Pete from Chevelle. He had one in mind for me, and so I said, yeah, go ahead and send me the music. I'm interested. We'd known each other for years. And the music was great. I toyed with it and obsessed over it an entire night and made it into an amazing song and called him and like, all right, bro, we got to put this down. Went, tracked it, nailed it. Lakeshore loved the song, wanted to use it as a lead track on the soundtrack. And there was a conflict of interest because we were working a track from the Disturbed B-Sides compilation, The Lost Children, at radio at the time. So we didn't want the two tracks to be fighting each other. And the track that we had written for the soundtrack was called Hunted. We held on to Hunted. Hunted grew on us. And over the course of time, it became a very convincing argument, the song, that we should do some more work together. We got on the phone, started talking about it. I'm like, look, it's obviously we have some chemistry. Why don't you come out? We'll try writing a little bit more and see what happens. Maybe we'll sell the songs to some other artists. Still not necessarily with the intention of making a group. And then in March of 2012, Gino came to my home in Austin, Texas for the first of two-week writing sessions. And those two-week writing sessions gave birth to the material that became Device.
What is it about Device that really kind of formed? I mean, you found success already with Disturbed. Why was it, Device, why did you come about?
Thought I just explained that.
But I mean, more or less, if you got your other band, a lot of the times, rather than going to a separate thing...
You probably have to ask, the primary question is why did Disturbed go on hiatus in the first place? Would probably answer the question. When you do the same project for literally 16 years straight, and you get into the cyclical nature of make a record tour, that assembly line aspect of it, the monotony of it, the cyclical nature of it, can be stifling to creativity. You feel like you're a part of a machine, and it's not artistry anymore. It's time to make the new record. It's time to set up for another tour. It's not about being inspired in doing it. It's about doing it because that's simply what you do. One foot after the next. And fans know that they can see you every other summer. They know that they can get a record from you every other year. The predictability breeds sterility as well. So after 12 years of being on the road and making a record tour, it was time for the good of the band and for the good of the fans to step away from Disturbed, give everybody a break from it, and let us do things that we never had the opportunity to do, though. I would have never had the chance to work with the Trivium guys in producing their record. I would have never had the opportunity and honor of working with Mr. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth on his new record. Those are the things that I was hoping to do during the hiatus. It was never the intention to do a group, but this group of material is so convincing and so strong and so defined. It really took on a life of its own and a direction of its own, and it came together very organically and naturally. It was a little bit of a hand of fate. It wasn't part of any kind of master plan. And now that it's here, it's here. People are going to draw similarities because my voice, thank God, sounds like my voice. I've always been a lover of rhythm. I've always had a rhythmic cadence to my delivery prior to Disturbed. When I even showed up the first day for the audition for the guys, the very first line that I actually sang was one of the verses from a song on the Sickness record called Want, which is very cadence heavy, which is very rhythmic. I won't let you say that you want me. And that was how I approach stuff. The prior two projects I had prior to Disturbed were funk influenced, more like Chili Peppers, Faith No More type of inspired. So it was. It's always been a part of me to go to that spot, that space that's very safe and very comfortable for me. But what the Device record gave me the opportunity to do was to do a track like Through It All, or to do a track like Haze, or to do a track like the Ozzy Lita cover with Lizzie Hale, or to even take a vocal approach like the approach taken in the chorus of the very opening track of the record of You Think You Know. All of those styles and the ambient nature of some of those songs and the saturation of keys and strings and so on and so forth, and even my vocal tonality simply would not have been appropriate to do on a Disturbed record. So I'm actually, like I said, it's a very fortunate accident. I find the whole experience to have been very fulfilling, both creatively and just, as an artist in general. And it was invigorating.
So what's next for Device? I mean, I know you guys are out on tour. It's, is it a 2-month?
Well, that's the only one. That's the dates that have been announced thus far. We're going to tour on this for, I don't even know how long. Certainly for the next year, possibly longer. It really depends on how far this record takes us and how far we can push it. I'm going to do everything in my power, and everyone in the band will do everything in their power and give everything we've got to this thing to make sure that it is branded and established and that it continues to be a viable entity. This isn't a one-off thing. It's become too important.
And I know that you already have 2 singles released from the album.
Just one.
Isn't forgetting the other one? I thought it was Something You Know.
You Think You Know is not an official single release.
Okay.
At least not yet. We haven't decided what the second single is going to be. The only official single released thus far is Vilify. I know that Octane is playing a whole bunch of tracks, and God bless them. The more they can play, the better, and it makes me happy. But the only official single that's been released thus far is Vilify.
What's it like playing cover songs? Because, I mean, you're not a cover band by any stretch of the imagination, and some of which you're friendly with the people that you're covering. Is it kind of a weird deal for you going that route?
It depends on the song. If you're talking about the Ozzy Lita cover in particular, it's fun. It's a song that was meant to be redone. It's too good of a song. And it's done completely in honor of their legacy and as a tribute to them. And, I played it for Lita already. She came through Austin, Texas. She loved it. I'd love for Ozzy and for Sharon to hear it as well and hopefully be proud of it. I consider Ozzy to be the greatest metal frontman that has ever walked the face of the planet. He's such a source of inspiration, and the Osbournes in general have done so much for me and so much for Disturbed's career over the course of the past 15 years. I'm eternally grateful. So it's really meant as a tribute to the greatness that they have achieved. Covers are just fun to do every once in a while, and that's why there's only 1 or 2 on this record, as opposed to it being a Garage Incorporated thing like Metallica did.
With the ties to Ozzy and Ozfest, do you think there's a chance we can see Device maybe coming on to Ozfest?
We'd love to. All they'd have to do is ask.
So, what else is kind of down the road? Are you currently writing for one album with Disturbed, one album for Device? How do you kind of differentiate?
Right now I'm just concentrating on Device, bro. I just finished, producing the Trivium record. I just finished co-writing and even tracking a little bit with Mr. Dave Mustaine, and now I'm fully focused on Device. There really isn't any time for anything else until the Device cycle is done. When the Device cycle is done, and when the guys in Disturbed, when all of us feel like it's time to return to it, we will. You don't spend 16 years of your life and put your blood, sweat, tears, heart, and soul into something to walk away. Yeah. We have tremendous love and respect for one another, and because of that love and respect, we knew when it was the right time to let this thing breathe a little bit.
And you almost kind of feel that with this new album with Device. Almost seems like you got that family aspect from the get-go. It's like that passion's definitely in this album as it's been in all the Disturbed albums.
Thank you.
Too.
I appreciate that.
What's kind of looming, I guess, down the road with this album? Is there going to be videos that are going to be appearing too? Or?
Oh, definitely. There's already a video for Vilify, which is out there, and hopefully we'll be shooting a video for every single that we put out. I don't know what the next couple singles are going to be yet. There are conversations going on, and it's it's an argument because there are a lot of good tracks on this record. There are a lot of single contenders, so it's a good problem to have.
And how does it feel if you go? Here you are. You're at kind of a real close-knit group at this club here, Culture Room in Fort Lauderdale. And I just heard you're going to Orlando. You got the big festival element. So how do you really contrast that kind of love for the fans up close and personal, and then out there in front of thousands upon thousands?
I love playing in multiple environments, man, and stuff like this gives us the opportunity to hone our craft a little bit before we get in front of the masses. The fans here tonight are going to get to see us in our infancy, and that's a very unique thing and a rare thing. And with that infancy comes a lot of, unbridled energy and a lot of excitement. And so these small club shows are going to go off. We're prepping ourselves for the big leagues, and this is our training camp, so they get to witness it.
And just kind of wrapping things up for fans that want to look up information about yourself, Device, or whatnot, where can they go to? Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff?
A million places. The primary page for the band is deviceband.com. My personal page is Twitter at David M. Draiman. There's a Facebook /Device the Band and Twitter at Device the Band.